Guys, we are back with the Screen Team right here on KWOC, being joined by Guy. And for those who don't know Guy is he's a lover of movies. He loves all kinds of movies. But is it fair to say that the horror genre is your favorite?
Oh, yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah. Like I've said before, most horror fans love all movies. Mm-hmm. It's just we love horror more.
Right. So we've got a great selection of horror movies for you this evening that Guy has chosen for us, and at least two of the three are kind of like they're close to being on the Mount or the Hall of Fame of horror films. We've got Friday the 13th, we've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and we've got Annabelle Creation. Because it's a newer movie. I'm interested to see. I haven't seen that one yet, so I'm interested to see if Guy liked it and if Guy thought it was a good horror movie. So we'll get to that later on in the show. But first up is the original Friday the 13th film. It's a classic. It certainly is. And I'm curious, Guy, is this one of your all-time favorite horror films, Friday the 13th?
Actually, yes. This is a movie that takes what's known in tropes as the perspective kill. This is pretty much the movie that cemented how to do it right, mm-hmm. and what to do to make that work. Perspective kill is where you don't see the killer. The camera is the killer's eyes, and you see what happens as a result of the actions and stuff. But right. You don't, for predominantly most of the movie, see who the killer is. It adds that level of suspense and horror and who does it and mm-hmm. who's doing it.
So for those who don't know, and obviously a lot of us out there do know the plot, but what's going on? We're at a summer camp, is that right?
Yes, this is taking place in Crystal Lake, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was an incident happened in 1957. A child who was being bullied by the kids because mm-hmm. he was born different, was pushed into the lake, and he ended up drowning. The counselors who were supposed to save that child or keep an eye out on him were off having sex and, being promiscuous and doing what, teenagers do.
True.
The next year, in the midst of trying to reopen the camp for the summer, those two counselors were murdered. It didn't happen again until 1979, when the Christies, John Christie is the son of the original camp owners, mm-hmm. tried to reopen it. And through the course of trying to get it open that summer, all the counselors, the Christies, everybody was murdered. And you found out why, who was doing it, what was going on, and you found out the name of the child who drowned, which was Jason.
Okay, and Jason, as we know, he's the guy with the the hockey mask, big burly dude, and so how often do we see him in this film?
Once in a flashback and once in a scare at the end. He is not the killer.
Interesting. See, that's what a lot of people think about this film, is that he's the dude, right?
Nope.
He's not the dude.
Jason Voorhees did not start his rampage until part 2, which takes place 2 years after the events of this film.
Cool. So if you haven't seen Friday the 13th, and I know almost everybody has, but if you haven't,
it's a 40-year-old film. I think we can forego spoiler warnings at this point.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right, go ahead. Who's the killer?
Jason's mother, Pamela.
What is this, Psycho Man?
No. Pamela Voorhees. How do I put this? Betsy Palmer, who played Pamela Voorhees, mm-hmm. played her 31 flavors of crazy.
I like that.
It's years after her son had drowned, and she still blames the counselors, who were children at the time, as being the ones responsible.
Yeah.
She hears Jason's voice in her head. She talks in Jason's voice. Always saying, "Kill her, mommy, kill her. I will, Jason." She is a nutbag. She is,
which makes for a good horror film, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ironically enough, the most famous noise that everybody associates with Jason Voorhees is not what everybody thinks it is.
Okay, what's that?
Everybody thinks it's ch-ch-ch.
Right.
It's ki and ma. Kill mommy. Killer mommy. The guy who, Henry Manfredini, who was recording the music, also helped with some of the sound design. And with the sound design, what he did is he went into the microphone, went ma, and actually put that on a repeating loop, and that gave the iconic sound that everybody mistakes.
Oh, very cool. I see. I did not know that.
It actually has a legitimate meaning, not just a random sound.
Cool, man. Guy dropping some knowledge for us today on Friday the 13th. Kevin Bacon's in this movie, right?
Oh, yeah. I think this is only his third film ever. But yeah, and he had a fantastic death scene. After he got done having sex, he was smoking grass, because that's what you do. And you see a hand come up, grab him by the head, and shove an arrow from the underside of the bed through his throat.
Yeah.
Which was only supposed to have just a little pool of blood and everything. Another fun fact that made it really graphic and really freaked people out. Tom Savini, who was the makeup effects artist, designed the initial look of Jason, of what he looked like, and did all the effects for this film. They had what was called a blood pump. It's essentially just a giant big plastic syringe with a tube on it. You just push the blood through.
Okay.
Well, as they were going to do it, the tube broke off. And they were shuffling under the bed real quick, trying to figure out what to do. So he just grabbed it and started blowing really hard, which gives a really graphic arterial spray out of his throat.
Yeah.
It looked like they just ripped his jugular with the arrowhead, and it looked really graphic and gross. And it was from a calculated mistake.
That's so cool how mistakes can make cinematic history.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So after all these years of seeing this movie, do you still get enjoyment out of watching Friday the 13th?
Oh, absolutely. Last Halloween, I watched it. I tend to watch it at least once a year during the Halloween season. It's just your go-to of horror films. This is one of them.
Right.
First time I introduced my daughter to it, she was pregnant with my granddaughter. And we watched it, and she was jumping all the time. And my granddaughter was apparently kicking very happy inside. So I've already started corrupting my granddaughter towards horror.
Starting him really, really early.
As it should be. As it should be.
The movie is called Friday the 13th, and of course, you can find it wherever it is you find movies. Now, if you find our videos, you can check out more Screen Team videos at our official Facebook page. There is a video where Guy and myself, we have ranked the Friday the 13th anthology of movies. So if you get a chance, definitely check that out. And Guy, before we go to our next review, you wanted to kind of give us a sneak peek about the new video game, right?
Yes. Actually, we did the reviews in honor of the release of Friday the 13th, the game. It's released by Ilphonic and Gun Media. It's a labor of love. It was a pure Kickstarter game, but it was done by the people who are involved. All the kills were designed by Tom Savini. The music was Harry Manfredini. The producer was Sean S. Cunningham. All the motion capture for Jason was Kane Hodder, who's played Jason in 4 different films, is the seminal go-to model for Jason as to how he moves and everything.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I got a sneak peek of it early. I got the early digital download, but the physical copy is coming out. And I can't tell you how much fun it is to actually play Jason and to rip the jaws off of camp counselors and eviscerate them with a machete. It's cathartic.
So is that the only thing? I mean, can you be the camp counselor too and try to escape?
Yes, okay. It's actually a team battle multiplayer. They also have a single player campaign, but the team battle multiplayer is where it's the most. You get a room of 8 people, 7 of them are camp counselors, and 1 is Jason. Now you have 2 choices. You can either escape or kill Jason. Your only other option is to die. And the person who's Jason, their job is to hunt down all the counselors. And as you're playing as Jason, you hear Pamela's voice, kill her mother.
Yeah.
They deserve to die, so young, so pretty, kill them all.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to kind of get inside the head of Jason Voorhees while you're doing this. And it's, for me and for anybody who is a horror fan, this is this is exactly what you want in a horror game. This is survival horror at its absolute finest.
Very good. You can find that. You can find the new video game. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for our video where we rank all the Friday the 13th, and you can check that out at our official Screen Team Facebook page. We'll be back with a review of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's next on the Screen Team.